Hi, I'm Marionette from Access Art Academy, and I'm going to show you how to make this paper marionette at home.
So for this workshop, you're going to need some scissors and some pens or some paints or pencils, however you like to colour, 4 paper fasteners, and these are the type of paper fasteners that open up at the back like this, some string, a paddle pop stick, a long one if you have it, or a short one is fine too, a hole punch, and a single hole punch is the best, and some tape. Now you're going to also need my printout, which you've downloaded, and if you're able to print it out on some thicker paper like a 300 GSM, that would be the best. Then it would be a little bit stiff like you can see here, but if you don't have that and you can just print on normal copy paper, that's fine too. You're just going to need something like a cereal box to glue it onto. But if you use a cereal box like the one here, I recommend that you do the coloured face up when you glue it on, and that way you'll have a really nice finish, and you'll even be able to colour or paint the backside of your puppet as well, and it won't look like a cereal box. So I'm going to use the paper card on 300 GSM, and I'm going to skip right back to the one I've already prepared earlier for you. And you can do whatever you like here. You can do an alien, you can do a monster, you can do a fairy or a princess or a knight, or you could do a puppet of yourself. So I'm going to show you what I've made. I've made a little green alien, and I've cut out the puppet along the black line like this, and I've also used the paper hole punch, and I've cut out on all of the 4 points which are marked on the template with the black dots, and also on the legs and arms I've done the same. So when you put your puppet together, just making sure that you've got a left and a right. This is very important, otherwise your puppet won't work very well. So you can see on the puppet that it has little hands and feet that are pointing a certain way. So we want the thumbs pointing in. Now I'm going to turn my puppet over. I haven't painted the back, but you can. And I'm just going to swap the sides so that the left and the right are on the right and the left sides. Now we're going to use our paper fasteners, and we're going to poke our paper fastener through this second hole. So the second hole there, and we're going to do it on the back of the puppet. So we're going to point the paper fastener through from the front into the back, and then open up the paper fastener at the back. And you just want to be a little bit careful with this. Maybe ask for an adult for help if you need. And we just want to make sure it's nice and loose so it has a bit of a jiggle. Don't do it too tight. We need that jiggle to make our puppet work properly. So that we want it nice and loose. Now we're going to do the same on the other arm. Remember the second hole, and pointing our paper fastener in from the front to the back, and we want it nice and loose. We're going to do the same for our legs as well, remembering the second hole. The top hole is going to be where the string comes in, and that will be the next complicated part. Now with these kinds of puppets, and with all puppets, they might need a little bit of tinkering. And tinkering means that you constantly are changing and playing and testing and trying and getting your puppet to work just a little bit better. Look, here he jiggles. And everything's nice and loose. So now comes the complicated part. We're going to use our strings. So I've got 3 strings that I've pre-cut, and one longish string I've cut it to about 30 centimeters. You might not need it that long, but this is going to be the string that controls your puppet down the bottom. And we've got 2 short strings, and they're about 20 centimeters long. And they're going to go across our limbs. So we're going to take this first piece of string and we're going to put it in that top hole. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated, so if you need an adult for some help, or an older person, just have someone help you with this part. So I'm just tying a double knot here, and we need to keep this nice and secure, and the knot is at the top. Now we're going to thread the other side of that string through to the other hole on the other arm. Now we want to make sure that the arms are pointing down and that string is nice and straight across. Then we're going to carefully tie a knot by folding that string across and pulling the knot tight so that our string stays nice and taut. And to hold it in place, we're going to do a double knot. Now there's a lot of physics and science that happens with our puppets, especially marionettes, and there needs to be a lot of tinkering that happens with the weighting and the string and the tension and even gravity. We're going to take our other short string and we're going to do the same to the legs. So just tying that first knot and having it at the top, and remember double knots in every place that we tie our string because we don't want our puppet falling apart. So now we're going to get that, pull it across through to the other leg, remembering we want our legs pointing down and that string straight across, and we're going to fold that over to create a double knot on the other side so that there's nice tight tension. And the tension is what's going to help our puppet move. Now, for the trickiest part. We're going to have our legs pointing down, our arms pointing down, and we're going to get a long string. And the long string is going to tie the leg strings and the arm strings together. So I'm going to get the top of the string and I'm going to go right into the shoulder blade. And I'm going to tie a double knot here, right smack bam in the middle. Like this. And we're going to do a double knot. And even though we've got a double knot here, it doesn't matter because this is still tinkerable. You can still slide it across, and you might need to do that as you play with the puppet or as you tinker with the puppet. You might notice that it's not working properly, and this means that maybe the knot is not right in the middle. So we keep tinkering. Now we're going to make a knot right there in the middle of the leg pieces. And this one's a little bit tricky, so I'm going to hold my finger down to keep that string in place, and I'm going to fold around and tuck that string in to create a knot while still keeping the right tension, even though it's going to jiggle a little bit, and that's okay. And we're going to pull that across and make a double knot like that. Now remember, it's tinkerable. We might need to see if it works. We're going to see if it works. We're going to hold everything down, point it down, and pull, and yay! So that string pulls down the strings between the legs and the arms, making the limbs go down. Now, it's not going to go jumping back up because we need gravity to pull it down. So you can see when I lift it up, it does go up and down. It's because we need gravity to pull the legs and arms back up again. And that won't work with the strings like this. Now I'm just going to put the last step, which is the paddle pop stick, and I'm going to tape it to the head, and this will help you hold your puppet upright or under a stage so that you can operate your puppet from above and below. There we go. Good luck on your puppet creations. I hope you've had fun making your puppet with me. I'm just going to finish off by cutting off these loose ends. If you want to keep tinkering with your puppet, maybe keep the long ends so that you can retie the knots if you need to. But otherwise, when you're happy, you can cut them off. Now remember, you can make all sorts of characters with this puppet, and I'd love to see what you end up doing. Please send me photos or videos of what you end up creating, because I love seeing all the different kinds of puppets you make. And please leave me a review or a comment. Would love to hear what you think of my paper marionette. Have a great time!